Alright, in this video we're going to talk about an interesting way to look at things. Milsurp guns, do they trade like bullion, gold, silver? Do they trade like precious metals? And kind of while I'm looking into things, because I talk more about guns and their values, about a lot of political stuff, and it looks like the economy's going to hell in a handbasket. So I started talking about things like gold, silver, goldbacks. But then I'm thinking, you know what? For all you guys out there to collect Milsurp, you can look at your Milsurp weapons just like looking at investing in silver coins. Alright? What I got here in KR98s, they're a real hot topic. This is a Yugo 98/48, and basically what this is after the war, the Yugoslavians took all the German weapons left in their country and they rebuilt them. They ground the receiver. This is German-made guns, probably all German-made parts, just about, other than the barrel and that. They ground the receiver, put a Yugo crest on there, took all the Nazi markings off, re-barreled them with brand new barrels, and they had a bunch of these stocks, or they made the laminate stocks, or they got a supply of them, and actually when these came in the country, you could get really nice mint, never put on a gun, stocks, and there was a lot of replacement stocks for a KR98. Why did I get this gun? Because I bought this gun. It was 100% brand new. And a guy told me, you can't get a rifle like that more mint than this. And I paid about a third of the price with an all-matching German-made World War II gun in pretty much mint condition or close to it. For what, what they were going for back then. Okay, so this was a third of the price. It's a KR98. It weighs the same. It is the same. It's the same gun except for the markings. And it was like brand new. And I just selected to shoot it. And the reason was because even back then, in the late 80s, early 90s, the collector's market was going crazy, trying to keep track of the prices, what was going. There were no computers or nothing. You can think your item's worth this amount of money, but yet somebody will be willing to pay. And another thing, you were closed in. There were no internet auctions, no way to get on and contact somebody from another part of the country. So whatever the local people pay you, and unless you find a guy that's a collector, which were far and few between, you really couldn't get top dollar out of it. So I kind of gave up on it, just like I gave up on trading in the bullion. What's the difference between this and the German KR98? Well, you got the U.S. Silver Eagle is worth X amount. Silver's all worth the same. But a coin minted by the government, is worth a little more than just a 1 ounce round of silver. Same weight in silver. One has a date. One demands a premium. This one doesn't have a date. It's just a symbol, and it tells you maybe where it was minted or coined, and it's 1 ounce of silver. The price difference. Now, even though this is a Yugo Mauser, and it's in nice condition, it probably will not bring the same as if I had a German coded and dated Mauser. And I mean, I just seen on the Mosin crate where we had the pretty rare Portuguese contract. All of them guns started around 1,002 something, 1,003, 1,500, and some of them sold for 1,900 and some dollars. And that's pretty steep. I like the KR98. I like shooting them, but collecting them, to me, I mean, if you collect and you like collecting and you're willing to pay, that's fine. But to me personally, I got this one. I feel like shooting a KR98 I got one. So, and it ain't $2,000. Granted, when I go to sell, it isn't. Alright, here we have number 4. And this one here is a little odd. This was made post-war. And I found this in a batch back when they were coming in. It's a 49. I think it's got a 4 or 6 groove barrel in it. Long branch, number 4. And I just took it because it was like brand new, had a nice barrel in it instead of a 2 groove barrel, you know, like a number 4 with a 2 groove barrel. And I kept it. I had several Lee Enfields, okay, when they were coming in, and you could have got them still wrapped up. The ones made in the 50s for the Sudan crisis, they call them the mummy wrap. I remember them. They were $180. I think I could have got one for, but I just wasn't into it. Bought a bunch of surplus ammo, shot the hell out of these rifles, and then kind of, you know, you kind of wish you could hold on to everything, but you can't. Okay, and I just moved on. But I kept this gun. What these go for, I haven't even checked. But, again, it's a lot more than what I paid for this gun. I know I can make some money selling it. So let's look at some other examples of guns. Okay, the French Mas model 1936, I guess. When these were released by the French government, they went anywhere from $65 to $80 a piece, wrapped in wax paper. They might have been refurbed or something, but fairly nice make guns. Can't touch one for under $400 if you find them. And the weird thing is, when you see these guns come, I mean, dealers had piles of 20, 30 of them, and you don't see them. Once they're sold out, they like disappear, and you never see them again. I don't know. Japanese Type 99s in 7.7. When I was in high school, I used to find these, the early ones, with a metal butt plate in that, and most of them were all ground. Very rarely did you ever find one with a mum on it. That's why they have a premium now. But I used to buy these things for $10 and $15 a piece. I don't know, 15, 16 years ago, they kind of got up to $300 a piece, and I thought that was extremely high. You used to trade, people would offer you, if I went to a gun show, I was looking to get like $180 or $200 for a nice one like this, and people would offer you $100 or something like that. $600 these go for, and I've seen them go for that at an auction, which to me, you know, a gun, a few $100 gun, but $600, a little too steep, but that's kind of the going rate now, if it isn't more, you know. Okay, the US 3040 Krag rifle. It was a fairly common gun at one time. You know, and back in the day, the military would send them to you mail order through the 30s and 50s and that until they sold them out. But you have to remember corrosive ammo. It was hard. You know, I used to find some of them way back in the 80s, 90s that were still together, kind of crappy with a board. It was somewhat eroded. I could get them for about $250, $300. It was hard to find ones with nice bores because what happened was when everybody went to gunsmith in school in the 50s and 60s, they would buy a Krag surplus rifle, cut it down, and sporterize it, re-blue it and everything. That's why a lot of the good guns with clean bores are hard to find. They were sporterized. You can find some really beautiful sporterized rifles, but as a military collector wanting a military example like this with a nice bore, they're awful hard to find, and they're well over $1,000. When I do run into them, they're quite high. I haven't checked, but the last time I looked, everything was 1,000 plus, depending on the year, the condition, and that. What they are now, I have no idea. The Gewehr 88, the commission rifle. This here was a common gun, And when I bought this is the first Milsurp gun I ever bought. Bought it through the mail for like 90 bucks or something. And it's turked out, converted. They were a common gun. You could find them quite often. And recently the batch of scrap iron they brought in with no bolt heads and in pretty deplorable condition from Turkey was the last hurrah with this. Actually, it's kind of hard to find these. You don't see a lot of these around. And when I did my series all those years ago on these, I tried gathering up some, buying them on the gun broker, and I brought several of them, and they were running anywhere from $250 to $350. And one of them, I'll do a separate video talking about this particular firearm and the variations and the availability. I do have an original German one, I believe is all matching, which that is an actual collectible. But the problem is people see the gun and they got a Turk one and they think it's the same thing, they just look at it, Commission 88 rifle. Well, there are variations and rarities that if you are a collector and know what you're talking about, there is a difference. We'll bring it up. These here now, I have no idea. I'm not even going to start with Royal Tiger because whatever the hell their prices are for the scrap metal they get in there, you can't compare. But they've been the only ones with these importing these recently, and I guarantee you they're in pretty, from what I've seen, you get out of them, they're pretty bad shape. What these are worth, I don't know. But like I said, the last time I was tinkering with them, 2.5, 3.5 in that price range, And again, depends on condition, completeness. And you have to watch out with these. You find a lot of these guns that are just an semblance of parts, too. But they're worth a lot more than, what you could get them for years ago. Okay, and to wrap this video up, we have two must-have guns, always out there. And what I'm going to say with the biggest price jump, Mosin-Nagant. This is a round receiver, 1943 World War II date gun. And in its heyday, when these come out, these can be had, with all the accessories for $100, and I've heard people even getting them for $60 a piece. And they vary. Some of them are okay, some of them shoot well, some of them don't. Some of them are pretty worn out, but that's the way it goes. I've seen these, which the last time I've seen them come in, they were going about $350. Okay, the last time a batch of them came in with AIM surplus or somebody. So they went from, say, $90 on average up to $350, which is all right, it's okay. I went to a gun show and seen something like this, $1,000. They had a price tag on it. Didn't say it sold, but the asking price was $1,000. So I think that one's gonna hold the largest price hike for a very, very common gun. And then, even though this is not a Milsurp weapon, it's a must-go-to weapon. It's probably the most popular, the AR-15 platform is probably the most popular rifle in the country. You don't have to be a Milsurp collector, but just, if you're into military guns, you should have an example, and I believe all of us do, even though these are civilian produced weapons. Okay, and this one, an AR-15, and just a generic one. This is one I put together with an upper and an Anderson lower in the parts kit. Generic ARs, they're down now. I've seen some of them advertised for under $400, $390 something. They hit a low spot at about $400. That's just for a plain one. Now I know you can get customized. There's some different brand names out there. Some people build this platform with their own things, and it gets kind of expensive. They get up to $2,000. But that is if you're going and looking for a higher quality version of this. But just a generic, just like a GI plain thing, $400. And these trade like gold, with the volatility of gold. During the last, just before the health crisis, they went from 400 to 7, 8, hovering, plain ones, anywhere $1,000. If somebody was desperate and panicking, they'd pay $1,000, maybe even more. I kind of got away from it because it was getting insane. Things got insane. So these things trade with the volatility of gold, okay? They go from 400 to 1,300 to back down to 700, down to 300, and back up again to $7,000, $8,000. You know, who knows? It is crazy. But that's my thoughts on it. Yeah, I'm going to be making some more videos and explaining the different guns in details, like I did with the Carcano and something else. I'll make more guns like that and just discuss mill surplus, because I really am not buying any, but I might as well make content, go through my collection, and discuss a few of the items I have. My subscribers seem to like that, and the people out on YouTube. But that's my conclusion, you know. So you can either stack gold and silver or stack mill surplus rifles, one or the other. It's the same thing, just a different commodity. All right, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.